Hey, I know that you want to speak English like a native English speaker. You want to sound like a native English speaker when you speak English. You want to speak English fluently, and you've done all that you possibly could have done. You've read books, you've attended classes, but you still have not achieved your goal yet. Well, don't worry. In today's lesson, I am going to tell you 5 steps. You heard me right, 5 steps that will help you finally speak English like a native English speaker. Are you ready? Well then, I'm Teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. Step number 1. You see, my friends, step number 1 is you must believe that it is possible. In other words, you must believe that it is possible for you to even speak English fluently. Why is this step number 1? You see, I have been an English teacher for a long time. I taught English in South Korea for about 10 years, and I noticed there was something very similar between all of my students, and probably including you. You see, they had the desire to speak English fluently, but so many times they doubted their ability. They doubted that they would ever be able to speak English fluently because there were so many rules and so many things they didn't know, and maybe you've experienced the exact same thing. But the fact of the matter is, in order to achieve any goal, including your English fluency goal, you must first believe that it is even possible. So right now, I'm speaking directly to you. I know it's hard. I know that English is not the easiest language to learn. But what I also know, even though I have never met you in person, I know that you are smart. I know that you are smart enough and that your brain has the capacity and the ability to grasp the English language to help you achieve your goal. But you won't achieve this goal unless you, my friend, first believe it. You heard me right. I need you to remind yourself every single day that you are smart enough and that you can achieve this goal. It doesn't matter if it gets hard, you have the ability to achieve this goal. This is step number 1. Not getting a book, not watching a video. No, step number 1 is that you must believe that it is possible. So what's step number 2? Now you believe that it's possible. Step number 2, you need to observe the English world. In other words, you must observe people speaking English naturally in various situations. Now, why is it so important for you to observe the English world? Step number 2. Let me explain this. So I can speak Korean. I studied Korean when I was living in Korea as a missionary English teacher. And as I was studying, I got many books. I took many classes. You see, like you, I love learning languages. I love studying and learning new things. But at that time, I was only using the books that I had been given. I had great teachers, but I had a very good knowledge of book Korean. And when I went to speak Korean, my Korean friends would always tell me, Tiff, you just don't sound natural. You just don't sound like a native Korean speaker. You can speak Korean, but you're really not fluent just yet. And I know you've probably heard the same thing. When you speak English, you listen to yourself and you compare yourself to other native English speakers. You compare yourself possibly to other English learners, and you can't figure out why your English doesn't sound as good as theirs. I've been there. I understand what you're feeling. The reason is I wasn't observing the Korean world, and maybe you're not observing the English world. For example, you need to observe native English speakers talking to each other. So not just English lessons. Yes, this lesson is very important, and I'm happy to be your teacher, but you must also observe native English speakers in the real world. What do they talk about? What words do they use? What expressions do they use? Instead of just staying within the books, instead of just learning from the dictionary or looking at things that are written down, you need to observe native English speakers in their natural environments. And because of the internet, you can do that very easily, no matter what country you live in. Go online, find a video, watch a movie, watch a drama, but it needs to be with native English speakers interacting with each other. You'll be amazed how your English fluency will improve when you start observing the English world. This is so important. Step 1, you must believe that it's possible. And step 2, you must observe the English world. How do native English speakers speak when they're speaking to each other? Step number 3, another important step. You must study what is interesting to you. In other words, you must study the things that almost immediately catch your attention. This is one of my favorite steps. Again, study what is interesting to you. So again, I told you earlier that I have literally been teaching English for years. I've taught thousands upon thousands of students in person and millions online. And something that is very common, a common thread, is that if you don't study something you're interested in, you will get bored. The students that I have taught over the years, when they go back and study things, if they're not interested in the topic, they'll stop. They would stop in the past. And even my current students right now that are in my academy, if they're not interested in a topic, they'll get bored. Once you find something that catches your attention, you will naturally want to know more about that thing or that activity or that topic. For example, I love cooking. If you've been with me for a while and you've listened to my story times, hey, don't worry, I'm going to tell you a story at the end of this lesson. You've heard me talk a lot about food and how much I enjoy cooking. That's something that interests me. So when I was studying Korean, I naturally got interested whenever I heard someone speaking about cooking and they were speaking in Korean, or whenever I saw a cooking program and there were Korean chefs discussing different techniques. Even though I didn't know all the words or the expressions at the beginning, the topic interested me. So I naturally learned faster when they used a new word, when they used a new expression. Why? Because in my brain, I already had a compartment for cooking, for food. I was already interested in that topic. The same is true for you, my friend. Listen, I want you to speak English fluently, but in order to speak English fluently, you have to remember step 3. You have to study things that interest you. When you watch a video, when you're reading something, if it catches your attention, that's a sign that, hey, I need to dive deeper into this. I need to see some more information, more videos, or read up more on this topic in English. This is the key to help you speak English fluently. Step number 3. If something interests you, learn more English related to that topic. Now, after you do this, step number 4. Step number 4 is connect it to your life. In other words, you must connect the things you study to things currently happening in your life. I love this step too. I know I said I love step 3, but I also love this step. Again, connect it to your life. You see,